Hi friends, here are 10 unspoken rules that you shouldn't break in Apex Legends. These rules will actually help you win more games, but also it'll help you just be a better teammate. Rule number 1, mute your mic. If you're not talking, then you should mute your mic, especially if you have background noise. The worst thing about solo queuing with randoms is when they have their mic on and some random TV show in the background, or music blasting, breaking my eardrums, or your friend shouting, or your little brother crying. All very annoying noises when you could simply use your mute button. If you don't mute yourself and you've got really bad background noise, you'll find your teammates just mute you anyway, and then any comms you do will just go to waste. Rule number 2, break off from the Jumpmaster. This is just good practice. It will not only save you time from running into another loot spot, but it will also save you fighting your teammates over loot. You can still land in the same building, just don't land straight on top of your teammates. Why? Well, if you land on top of your teammates, especially the Jumpmaster, like I said, you're just going to be stealing each other's loot. And this will not only limit your own loot, but it will be a bad move for the team, because then your teammates have limited loot as well, and you'll end up as a team with partial loot, which could put you at a disadvantage against other teams that might be better looted. Rule number 3, don't hoggle the loot. If you have 200 ammo and your teammate is pinging to say they have 0, by the way, you can look in the text feed to see how much ammo your teammate does have, then you should definitely share it. It'll only be to your benefit if your teammate can actually use their weapons. And the same goes for shield cells, batteries, heals, and any other consumables that your teammate might need. And actually batteries is a good one. Let's say you've got 4 batteries and your teammate doesn't have any, then it's definitely worth sharing some of those batteries with your teammates. Why? Well, because in a fight, popping a battery is going to be better and faster than popping multiple shield cells, and this can mean your teammate is back in the fight much faster and can support you a lot quicker in a fight. By the way, sometimes it is okay to hold the loot, you've just got to be willing to give it to your teammates when they need it. Rule number 4, stop spam pinging enemies when you're down. I mean, this goes for any time. Spam pinging in general is just annoying, but people always tend to do it when they're downed, and they just go crazy with the enemy ping. By the way, this actually makes it harder for your teammates. Not only is it very distracting, but it makes it harder to hear footsteps. Just ping a couple of times in the direction of where the enemy is that downed you, and if that enemy moves, then ping the new location. You don't need to keep pinging a million times. Rule number 5, be useful when you're downed. Keep your knockdown shield up. Even when you're downed, you can still help your teammates by having your knockdown shield up so they can use it for cover. I see so many people just give up and sit there when they're knocked, but like I said, you can still be useful to your team. Move towards your teammates, get your knockdown shield up and cover angles against the enemies. This can make a big difference in helping your team secure more placements and even help your teammates clutch up in fights. And to go with this, by the way, make it easy for your teammates to revive you. Try and crawl to a safe spot. Just try and use your brain here and just make life easier for your teammates even when you are downed. Rule number 6, don't be a loot goblin. And by this I mean don't steal loot from your teammates. Now this can be when your teammates are dead. Try not to steal loot from their loot boxes if they can be respawned. You'll need to use your game sense here. See if there's a reasonable chance for that teammate to be respawned nearby. If they can't be respawned nearby, then sure, okay, maybe it makes sense to loot their death box to make sure you've got good enough loot. But if they can be respawned nearby, then try not to loot their death box. And the same goes for death boxes of enemies your teammates have killed. If you had no participation in that kill, you should let your teammates loot that box first. Don't run in ahead of them and steal all the loot. Again, use some common sense here. If you did all the damage but then your teammate steals a kill, then okay, sure, you can loot it straight away. Just don't be that Octane that does 0 damage and doesn't help your teammates in a fight, but then stims past your teammate and loots all the death boxes. Just don't be that guy. Rule number 7, don't drop solo. If you queue with a squad and you haven't selected no fill, then don't solo launch unless your teammates are AFK or they're doing something crazy. If you want to play solo, then you should just select no fill, because most of the time people that queue in trios and duos actually want teammates that will help them. There may be some situations where you feel like you need to solo drop. For example, if you're in ranked and you're in a high tier lobby and your team's trying to hot drop in a crazy place, then maybe you want to switch to solo drop and go somewhere safer. But for the most part, you want to be sticking with your team. Rule number 8, stop the rage quitting. Players leaving the game, especially in pubs when the banner is still retrievable, or even worse if they're downed and can be revived, is one of the most frustrating things in Apex Legends. I know you want to move on to the next game if you're down, but the game isn't over yet. Have some faith in your teammates. You should be able to judge if you think your teammates can grab your banner or revive you if you're downed. Give them the benefit of the doubt at least. Honestly, I've had so many games where I pull off a clutch fight and my teammates just leave the game before I can revive or respawn them. And look at this clip. The Octane gets downed and the Gibraltar and I are literally next to him and we win the fight, yet he rage quits and we could have just respawned him really close by. Not only does that affect his KD, but he misses out on a good game, and he also puts me and the Gibraltar at a disadvantage because we have to 2v3 every other squad in the lobby. Rule number 9. Follow the best player in your squad. I actually put this in my solo queue guide, which you can check out by clicking the eye icon in the top right corner. The reason I've put this here as a rule is because I see so many low level players and low skill players for some reason not follow or listen to the best player in the squad, and they just decide to do their own thing. That makes no sense. If someone is clearly better than you, for example they've got better stats and they're a higher level, then you should definitely have some respect for that better player and at least listen to the calls they make. Sure, everyone has a bad day and they may not make the right call, but if they're clearly better than you and they've got more experience than you, then it's more likely their calls will be better than yours. It's common knowledge in games like Apex Legends that having an IGL, especially a good one, can make a big difference in helping you win. Rule number 10. Don't take all 3 slots in the crafter. You see, if your teammates want to craft and you've taken all slots in the crafter, they're just going to have to wait around while your items craft. This isn't really fair on them, and to be honest is putting you at a disadvantage, because once you finish crafting, you'll then have to wait for your teammates to finish crafting. So it's good practice and just general courtesy to at least leave 1 slot open in the crafter for your teammates. And finally, I've got a little bonus rule for you. Rule number 11. Try not to be toxic. I know Apex Legends is one of the ragiest games out there, and it's just infuriating sometimes, but you've got to at least try to be nice to your teammates. Everyone has a bad day. Just remember those days when you're playing bad. You wouldn't like it if someone was mean and toxic towards you. And one good tip I can give you for this is to try and turn your toxic thoughts into an improvement point for your teammates. Instead of calling someone trash or stupid or insulting them or their family, maybe try to tell them what they could have done better. Something like, hey, please try to loot faster next time, it will help you be with your teammates quicker. Something like that can help them get better rather than just raging at them and calling them names. Anyway, those are the simple rules that I feel will make Apex Legends a better game for you, and I have no doubts there are people out there that will still break all of these rules. But hey, hopefully me listing them out here in this video will at least help some of you. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you later.